Oh yes. So guys, as I shared on my timeline, as usual, as people have known over the past few weeks, having conversations with different phenomenal individuals regarding the concepts of publishing and marketing and making money. So today at 4 p.m., I had to literally, it flew into my head. I was like, okay, why don't I have this amazing guy come share with us, during this conversation. So I hadn't really penned down his name, but I've been looking at all the things he has been doing. And I was like, okay, why don't I bring him in so that we can have a conversation? And then I reached out, and today we are here all the way from Canada. A lot of Nigerians want to japa to Canada, and he has japa to Canada, and he's in the land of milk and honey, where a lot of individuals want to be in Nigeria here. I'm glad that we have BB Ukonu right here with us for this conversation. And we're going to be looking at publishing, branding, awards, marketing, and everything in between. Basically, the essence is for you to understand that authoring books is an amazing venture and what to do to be able to make it sell if you eventually author a book, and how to make money from the published books. So that's why we're here today. So I've known BB for many years. I can't really recount how many years. I know his elder brother, who was I think he left in 1995. I mean 1998, right, from government college.
Yeah,
Because
98. Yeah,
so I left 97, even though I was a quiet senior when
yeah.
we're
You
in
were not a
when
bully. You were not a bully.
I was never a never taught any junior students. All those things that seniors were doing in school. For me, they were all bad and that. Should never even to kneel any junior student down. That was so. Um, from by knowing your other brother than you, and it's been amazing ever since then. Okay, so I have shared about your what you do, who you are on my timeline, but I know some individuals. There are certain things that we may not see on the surface that are quite I don't know instructive for them to put out there in the public. Maybe some other things that they're doing that people really do not know, and they find it awesome to share. So, BB, you can go ahead. Apart from the things that I put out on my timeline, tell us a bit about what you are, what you do, and perhaps the things I never knew about you.
All right, thank you so much. I would like to first of all call you Senior Emeka Nobis. You had that. Almost all the junior students admired you because your name always you were mentioned almost every morning and any award giving day for your many awards. So the name stuck to my head. So yeah, and coincidentally, we are doing the same thing. We have almost the same interest, and no matter how we approach it, it's still the same focus, the same dream, the same vision that we have. So I am BB Okonu. Uh, First of all, an architect, and then a poet and a fiction writer. And then we moved into publishing in 2011, myself and my partner, Jide Aluka. And we moved in because of the gap that we had in southeast and southeastern part of Nigeria, where writers found it difficult to get publishers. The bulk of the publishers were based in Ibadan and Lagos axis. So those were the writers uh, based there were the ones enjoying the facilities. So out of anger, like I always like to say, positive one, we got the idea in 2011. So sorry, yeah, 2011. So Girls Lounge publishing is more like 10 years old as a concept, and
Mhm.
but as a company, it is 9 years old because we got it registered in 2012. So we went into the business of book publishing, and we focused uh, on the ground writers. And then our idea was how to groom them to the acceptable stage where we'll get to discuss later, where they get to win awards and get recognized and all sorts. And we have been able to achieve a bit of that, basically through our writers who I will mention later. So, Girls Lounge as an idea has been trying to stand and survive for all those years. And then in 2017, there was a break somewhere. And then in 2017, after the publication of my collection of short stories, Things That Start Small But Sweet, I and Jide decided to come back fully and major in publishing. Jide is more into self-publishing, where he works with authors that we cannot publish through the traditional arm. Jide is an expert in the self-publishing arm, while I handle the traditional arm. So that's how we got the job well shared. So in 2019, I moved to Manitoba, Canada, and I had to continue with the dream because this actually is basically what makes me happy as a human. So moving to Canada, I had to start up the vision in the middle of the pandemic in 2020, when everyone was confused in Canada and people were not leaving their doors. I decided to start a company, Girls Lounge Publishing Canada. Good enough, the technology here permits me to get it registered and everything from my house, and get the bank account done, everything from my house without even leaving the house. So for many months, I
Wow.
stayed. Yeah, yeah. So, so for
Oh
many
my
months,
God. When you said that, I just started imagining.
we did not leave the house. We did not leave
Oh
the
my God.
house for many months.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
Nigerians, we have this positive approach towards COVID. So people were still leaving the house, but like here, people were stuck in their houses. Nobody was leaving. So I had this other job I was doing, but I also said this is the reason I am here, to start a new frontier, to start a new space for African writers in North America. Am I going to wait for this pandemic to stop before I start work? And it wasn't looking like the thing was going to have any remedy anytime soon. It still doesn't even have any remedy till now. So I just had to move on to start that, and I started that basically with our personal private income, and we've been able to build that within, from June 2020 when it got registered till now, a little over a year. I've been able to publish 5 books, and we have 8 books signed to publish within 12 months. And these are African writers that are based in Canada. African writers that are either Canadian citizens or they are permanent residents. So the vision is to diversify the Canadian book industry, or the Canadian book space, by adding the spice of the African writing. So we started with African writers based in Canada, and also currently I have writers based in the US, based in Nigeria, and in the UK. So the publishing imprint in Canada is focused on African writers. Basically that. So this is like a background of what I've been up to over the years. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing, BB. So, guys, if you're joining, please let's know where you are joining us from. If you're in Nigeria, let's know your city. If you are outside of Nigeria, let's know your city so that we know where you are tuning in from. And then do us the honor of sharing this on your timeline right now. So, pause right now and just go ahead and share this conversation, this video on your own timeline, so that people can come join and be part of the conversation that we're having right now. So I can see people who are joining. I see Chibuamam all the way from Port Harcourt to where I am. I see Dr. Princess in Lagos here, Nigeria. So let's go ahead and share where we are tuning in from. And thank you for being part of here. And just share the video, all right, to your timeline so that everybody who clicks on it can join us in this conversation. Okay, so thanks, BB, for that background information. And it was a very audacious move from here, Nigeria, to Canada. I think you had a job when you were in Nigeria here, right? With an oil servicing company,
Yep.
if I'm correct. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think we are kind of identical in the kind of things that we are doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was working in a servicing company,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I resigned to start championing this course. And then you are
Yeah.
working in an oil servicing company in Nigeria, and then you resign also, and then you move to Canada. So
Yeah.
very audacious moves that we are doing in our lives, So, and you are championing the cause of African writers, even though I'm not particularly peculiar about writers per se. My focus is on individuals who are able to put words together to author a good book. That's my focus, not really writers per se, because there are individuals who have this gift of writing. I mean, writing for the sake of writing, not just because of any other thing. So I think that's where we are different, but there is also an alignment of sorts there. So that brings me to the first question. Traditional publishing vis-a-vis or versus tradition self-publishing. I have never done traditional publishing in my life. I have never done it. I've always done tradition for all my 14 books because I love the joy of controlling the entire process. So I say my book is going to come out now. I do this. I send it to an editor. I work with them. They get it out, and then I put down my money. Even though now I don't put down my money anymore. After my seventh book, I began to work on a strategy where I collected people's money to be able to publish my own book. So I wasn't initially I was putting my own money down and getting everything
Yeah.
done. So and then I love the joy of marketing my own books, right? I know it's good to have some form of leverage. Like I was reading one of your posts before we got on this conversation about Chijo Nadi, and that his book had done 7,000 copies 1 month. It's a good thing to have such a leverage. Um, Using the traditional publishing company. But then let's look at traditional versus self publishing, demerits and merits.
Yeah, if I must step in regarding self-publishing, self-publishing is an amazing, uh, amazing avenue to get your book out there. If someone like Bibi Kono, who who is a co-founder of Girls Lounge, publishes his book under Girls Lounge, it could also be considered self-publishing in a way. You get so. Uh, but one thing about self-publishing is this: you have to have the energy, like the musicians who say E for energy. You have to just have the energy to follow up, to think up ideas, to think up concepts, to strategize, to form like a mental team. You may, at the end of the day, be exhausted. And also, if you have a family living with you, all of you are in it together because ideas will always come up and they will also come up with ideas. I published Things That Start Small But Sweet in 2017, and immediately it got uploaded on Amazon. A friend of mine who is also very close to you, Uncle Ben, got a copy in
Yeah,
the
sorry.
UK, got a copy in the UK, and did a selfie with it, and posted on social media. It became a trend.
I think that was how I had to buy my own copy.
Yeah, it became a trend. So from there, my family members, of course, started getting there. So in Canada, in the US, in London, in Nigeria. Even before I got to Nigeria, people in Nigeria were already calling me. When am I getting my own copy? It became a trend. I just need to have the selfie done, and I got literally like over 100 selfies from people. These are like people that agreed to do selfies, you know, and not like at the point people were just sending me pictures to my inbox, you know. So and I was just posting and enjoying the statistics on Amazon, the reports and everything, you know. So the book did amazingly well on its own, you know. It did amazingly well on its own, and I just had to visit the community where I got the inspiration. which is Makoko in Yaba, and I did a reading for them, and I also gave them a talk. So the thing is, self-publishing is amazing in the sense that, just like you said, you will be in the middle of the process. You are the one steering the printer, you're the one working with your editor, the design, the distribution, the marketing. You are the center of it all. And you get to pay them, and they just leave the space for you to control. Good. Then in traditional publishing, some authors don't have the finance to move into self-publishing, but they are heavily gifted and talented. So what we do is we go through these manuscripts, and then we pick the very wonderful manuscripts that we believe so much in, and then we take them through the process from contract to the end, which is distribution. Now, I have authors too under the traditional publishing that will step in to be part of every process. There are authors that immediately they sign, they'll go home and sleep. You get, and leave the rest for you. Now, their books don't sell that much, right? Because they are not involved, they are not doing anything. And when you find them on social media, they are playing around or following or they are following blogs, trends, and who is fighting who, and you know, their books don't sell. That's actually the truth. But if you find any book selling, check the author.
Mm.
Whether it's traditional publishing or self-publishing, check the author. The author is working hard, either by selling his or her brand, improving himself or herself, networking a bit more, attending events, having readings, you know, just anywhere they are, they just get to put in that word that they have a new book out, and that's on the marketing aspect of it. But all through editing, they are there, design, they are there. So the difference between these authors is just the fact that they are not the ones funding the production of their writing, but they are doing almost or equally the same uh, as the self-publisher is doing. Just the difference is that they are not funding the production of their book, and they are not doing some other things like getting to work directly with the designer or anything, but they are there. They are there all through. So self-publishing for me is not something that people should be ashamed of, and then you spend all the years of your life looking for a traditional publisher, and at the end of the day, you end up not publishing that book because you've been waiting for a literary agent or a publisher to get your work out there, and you end up not having a book. But I know authors that will come to you and tell you, you're a traditional publisher, but I want you just to represent me, but I'll fund that. Good. But in a country like Canada, if you are a traditional publisher, you just have to be a traditional publisher. You might have an imprint, a related imprint also that does self-publishing, but there are reasons why they just need you to be a self-publisher, which one of them is there are awards or prizes that they only give to traditional writers that are published through traditional means. And there are also a few perks from the government in terms of because here in Canada, the government basically is involved in literary activities. They to the point that they even support publishing houses. So in most of these cases, they need traditional publishers. So, but apart from that, and also traditional publishers, because of the years of being in business, have this network, especially in terms of distribution and marketing. They have that network, and they also it's something that they've done for many years and that they are used to. So it's easier to work with a traditional publisher because he can easily get you out there. Because for me as a traditional publisher, I sleep publishing and I dream publishing. I wake up thinking about publishing. And when I'm out there trying to mail out books or drop books at the bookstore, basically what I think of every single minute of the day is how to get books to different individuals. So so that's basically the reason why people need traditional publishers. But for a self-publisher like yourself, that I know, and a few others that have that platform to market their books, like someone like Lionel Sokore might not really need a traditional publisher, right? Goodluck Jonathan may not really need a traditional publisher, if he has people that will go out there and do the job for him. So basically, they are all about getting books out there, both platforms, both means of getting books out there. It's just a matter of a writer not having the funds, not having the network to market their books, also not really having the brand as well. All right. So these are really the reasons why they need traditional publishers.
Okay, so thanks for those very valid answers. I think three issues I picked out when it comes to traditional publishing. Number one, I think the first time I wrote to Farafina, I can't remember either Farafina. I'm trying to remember either Farafina or one other traditional company like that, and they said to me that I had to wait 6 months before they could go through my manuscript and be able to give me an answer. And that also, after the 6 months, is not a guarantee that I will be chosen for traditional publishing. And I think it's as a result of me as a person. I'm like, man, this is a lot of time to waste and keep waiting and waiting and waiting. And eventually, I may not even have the opportunity to self publish. I think that's one key thing. And then you find individuals who are willing to do the waiting. So they keep waiting for years. They keep submitting here and there. They're not picked, they're not chosen, but they still keep the faith alive. Then, secondly, the issue of prestige. There's those who have told me that they will never do self publishing because traditional publishing gives them the prestige, to hear that this company published their book and all that. And then thirdly, as you said, awards. All right. So there are certain awards. Like me, I've pitched, which was one time I was very angry, and that's why I'm not even part of the Nigerian Association of Nigerian Authors or whatever association that has to bring authors together. Somehow I'm looking like as if I'm a heretic of sorts because I found out that there was a statement someone made one time. He said non-fiction authors are not creative people. I'm like, man, that's I don't know how to even take this. And you find out that most of us who are non-fiction writers or non-fiction authors don't win these big prestigious awards like what do they call them, like LNG and name the big stuff. I I tried at one time to submit one of my manuscripts, that had to do with nonfiction, but it wasn't chosen. Well, but then I think these are the three key issues, and I want to really understand your take. Number one is the waiting period for it, and eventually somebody may not be chosen because there are quite a lot of great people who are submitting manuscripts. Then thirdly, secondly, the prestige. Is there anything that has to do with prestige or not regarding publishing traditionally? And then awards.
All right. First of all, I would like to pick the second question, which is prestige. Yes, kind of with my experience in publishing, I would say with the way traditional publishing has been made to be kind of elitist in a way because of these awards and the people that commission these awards, the people, organizations that are behind these awards. An example is the NLNG, the Nigeria Literary Prize, like you just mentioned, 100% funded by the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas, the NLNG, and you know, bringing out as much as $100,000 for a category uh, for science and for literature, and then 1 million naira for literary criticism. So when you have these awards only accepting submissions from publishers, you get, and then it's kind of uh, separates uh, some kind of writers from another kind of writers. Now, not really that uh, non-fiction writers are not creative. I've been reading creative non-fiction genres because I'm also a juror of the Manitoba Book Awards. So as a juror of the Manitoba Book Awards, I also had the opportunity to read creative non-fiction. And these are like things that I'm new to, cultures that I'm new to here in Canada. Uh, Basically more like the indigenous people of Canada. And I was able to read these manuscripts and I find them very, very amazing, honestly. And now I have this best author, this best Canadian author, David Robertson, who is also a Manitoban. He's a nonfiction writer, basically writes about his people. And he he won a lot of he won two awards, two Manitoba Book Awards. He won two categories, and recently he won the Governor General Award here in Canada. But he's published by Penguin, right? Uh, so it's not only like in Nigeria; it's everywhere globally. Even Barack Obama. I don't know if you have his book. I think I have Obama's book. Yeah, yeah. So Barack's book, The Promised Land, was published by Crown, right? And Crown, these arms of publishers are all related to either the Random House or the HarperCollins. All right. So Crown is under Penguin Random House. So but the thing is, Nigeria as a market hasn't really gotten to that stage. Publishers are scared. That's the truth. It's not like they are forming one kind in Nigeria. The truth is they are limited in terms of having funds to spend on these manuscripts. So they are scared because if we look at it from that angle, also it's their investment, is their money. So they are scared. They don't really know how the book will turn out, and especially the mechanobis of the oil and gas. It's not the mechanobis of today. So the mechanobis coming out from oil servicing to tell a publisher, please have my manuscript, it's going to be difficult for the publisher to accept, especially in Nigeria, having low funds. But the mechanobis of today, I bet you they'll rush your manuscripts. You understand? So the thing is, you've built your brand to a certain level that they want you. They want you. They're now willing to spend money on you. I bet you if Bob Risky comes out with a manuscript, publishers will go for him.
Yes.
You get so that's also what I tell writers. It's not only about knowing how to write. Build your brand. You must not get yourself involved in a controversy or something, but like build your brand. Sell your knowledge, sell your brilliance out there. You know, so at a certain level, publishers, there are authors that I know today that publishers go to beg for manuscript and they are there picking. Now that's one. Then two, another way of trying to get the attention of uh, publishers is this internationally that I know is by if a big publisher is finding it difficult to read your manuscript, I'm not so sure that literary agents will also find it that difficult. So if you push out your manuscript to a whole lot of literary agents, that are registered in their different regions, they can easily give you a reply like, we like your manuscript, we would like to read further, can you send us the full manuscript, let's consider your manuscript. Or they might just reply you that your writing is beautiful, but we really cannot represent you at this moment. So you can actually get response faster from the literary agent than the publisher, who is filled, because a lot of literary agents write these publishers. All right. So instead of reading directly what the authors are sending, they depend on the literary agents to offer them the best of writing. And then there are other marketplaces that, while I was in Nigeria, I didn't know about. So in the West, there are a lot of facilities and open for them to market their books. There is the Publishers Market, .com, I think so, where you pay a certain token monthly, and then you continue marketing your manuscripts. You have all the publishers in the world on that platform going through people's synopses and excerpts. And then I've seen a lot of just normal authors get deals uh, with these publishers. So these are like different ways of getting yourself out there, but you have to be relevant, you have to contribute positively, you have to be wanted, you have to be needed in any way possible. If somebody like Bob, like I mentioned, can pay a ghostwriter to write for him, and then he just announces, I have a book, can I get someone to publish? I'm telling you that a lot of people, they're going to contact him and ask him for the rights to publish his book. But that's basically about traditional publishing. But if you can do self-publishing, and that's why I support what you're doing, because the truth is, everybody must not have that traditional publisher. That's just the truth. Are you just going to die without getting your book out there? There is no time. It really, like you said, you're quick in moving out to do it by yourself if you get disappointed by someone. I came to Canada and I moved into publishing. Then we got the first book published, a collection of poems. People don't really buy rights to poems because they feel it doesn't really sell as much as fiction or the novel. But that was the first book we got published here in Canada. And I remember when I went to get the cartons from the printer, and I came home and I packed them in my store here. And every morning I would just come and just look at them, and I'll be like, how am I going to get these things out there? Because I was just basically new. So what did I do? I stepped out and I started building the network. Right. So I started building the network. I started contacting bookstores directly, because I didn't also have a distributor. Because if you don't have a distributor in Canada, you are basically a self-publisher. Right. So, and I needed like to be 2 years in business in Canada to have a major distributor. So I just had to do it myself. I sent out emails, I went for meetings, I did video meetings, conferences, attended trainings by the Canadian Association of Publishers. I joined the Association of Manitoba Book Publishers. I joined the Manitoba Writers Guild. I started going for events at bookstores and different things. Contacted my fellow Nigerians in institutions, lecturing, and people actually teaching literature in Canada. So these are the things that I did on my own. So the difference here is that a traditional publisher does that thing to build
on
that
behalf.
connection, to build that network for the many authors that they are going to sign ahead. The self-publisher does the same thing for his many books that he is going to get out there. So that's basically that. So anyone you can do for yourself to really sell, you know, uh, yeah, do that for yourself.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So that brings me to the next question. Thanks for all your very valid answers. So the concept of personal branding because I see quite a lot of them around here. They're kind of detached somehow. They're not putting themselves out there. They don't engage in conversations. They are kind of hiding in the shadows. And even when it comes to, because they don't understand that conversations that we even do on social media is marketing. They don't understand that the content that you put out, whether you're telling a story about your life, like this morning, I've already told a story about my wife coming out, put out a picture. Yesterday, I told a story. I go to a hotel in Aba. I told a story about it, how I saw two youngsters, open the door and leaving the door open and having sex on the bed. All those kind of things, the things I saw on the road, the potholes, the more you share these things, the more you're putting yourself out there. That is even marketing. But many of them are not seeing it from that perspective. So there is detached thing that they do. Ah, my book is there, and then I'm here. You get what I mean? Not understanding that your book sales will ride upon your personal brand for you to be successful. So I would like you to make some, put some hint on this, personal branding with regards to success. I know you've shared quite a few of them from the conversations we've had so far and your responses, but if you can, if it is something that is unique, a unique twist to the issue of personal branding, that can help authors to sell more of their books.
All right, let me start with this story of when I was in secondary school then, and I wasn't born in a poor home, but we had this sort of training that we had as little kids, that when we were growing up, our parents gave us these jobs that you would wonder how poor we were. So we went farming, we did all sorts of things, and my mom did all different types of businesses, tailoring. She was a school principal, but she did all these different things. And then we did this plastic bag manufacturing. So there was this day she had to give me this bale to go and hawk, to go and market in relief markets, you know. So I carried it to relief market, and I was so shy and ashamed, and I had it on my head, but I was just moving around the market without saying a word. And I remember this woman. She dragged me close and called me and said, "My son, are you really selling that thing?" So I said, "Yes, ma, I'm selling it." They mention what you're selling. Let the people hear you. They can't. Nobody knows what you're selling. And I had this cousin of mine who wasn't really he wasn't an introvert in any way. He followed me to the market. So my cousin was the one that started shouting, you know, waterproof. So, and before we knew it, people started buying. you know, so like so and that was the first and the last day I went for that thing anyway. But because I went home, I told them I'm not going again. So like I sold a lot more when I started calling out the
What you were selling.
product. Yeah, people now called me, and I sold, and I was excited. I went home with money, So now on the social media space, I think a lot of Nigerians assume that celebrity status even prematurely. You
Yeah.
know, they just once you're on Facebook or social Instagram and you're able to make a post, you think you're a celebrity because you're having likes and comments, and you now feel you can't do some certain things, and it gets to writers especially because writers are mostly introverted, and it affects them more because they also assume the status of importance of and then they are also not able to speak out, and you just hear, "That's my book cover." The
Mm.
next one you hear, "My book is now available," and that's just it.
That's it.
you know and then if you now have a traditional publisher, then they will now start calling the traditional publisher, how far now? you know but you need to do some work, just like that woman told me that day. You need to let people know your product.
Exactly.
So there is no shame in this thing. Are you assuming that celebrity status? Even the celebrities themselves market themselves on their platforms.
Mm-hmm.
You get people. I didn't really know anything about VBank until Don Jazzy started talking about it, and then the Obi Kubana is also marketing his champagne, his wine, and
Exactly.
through every means. The musicians the same. Their product is what you are dancing. So and they're also talking about it. So why should you, as a writer, publish a book, and the next thing you abandon that book and you go to Twitter and you're arguing about Buhari and Obasanjo and a whole lot of, when your product is there looking at you, and
Exactly.
that product in terms of awards has that tendency to really win the awards, and you leave it there, you abandon it, and you move on. you know it also has that tendency of getting interest, people to call you for an event to come and speak. It also
Mm-hmm.
has that tendency of being taught in a university. It has that tendency of being in a secondary school. you know Books are limitless, and they will stay even after you're gone. you know People are still living with things fall apart. People are still
Exactly.
living with Antilles of the Savannah, and a whole lot of other books written by Achebe, J.P. Clark, and other people. Let's leave the literary guys, them, Miles Monroe, these other, like,
TD Jakes.
no matter how Yedebo sells his book, people will say he forces people in his congregations. It's marketing too. So, so, so,
Exactly.
so people should learn to move beyond that ego of thinking that it's too much pride to talk about your book, especially if you don't have a strong publisher who is shameless. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because I carry my uh, Girls Lounge books. I carry Girls Lounge books anywhere I go. I talk about them and I live with them basically. This is just what
Mm.
I do. I don't do any other thing on social media. This is what I do on social media. I don't go to argue with people over why a man is cheating more than a woman, or this is basically what I do. So, like, if you have a product, just make that effort, market your product. People are uh, yeah, people are marketing vaccines. Companies are marketing vaccines. So if you go to a country, if you come to a country like Canada, you find out that Pfizer is moving more than Moderna or Johnson and Johnson. And so you go to another location and you find out that Johnson and Johnson, they are also moving more than. So you have to market your product. So book marketing is not different from marketing gala. All right. So if you fail to market your book, the guys at the hold up will reprint your book and they will market it for you.
Mm.
You get, and they will sell. So we should at some point stop complaining that Nigerians do not read.
Mm.
We should at some point stop complaining that Nigerians are lazy and stuff. They want to read. So some Nigerians want to read some things that will make them laugh, relax, you know
Mm.
why not just try to add some humor to what you're doing? And yes,
Exactly.
thinking about your style now, I woke up one morning and I saw you half naked. So I saw you half naked, and I was like, wow, man. And the first thing that came to my mind is I need to call your wife, and, like, because no one can ever do that without the support of the spouse.
Exactly.
So, but these are ways that you market dangerously, especially if you're a self-publisher creating your own pathway and your own network. There are many things that you need to do to get your book out there. And let me not take your own your business, because this is where you come in as a professional in terms of marketing your book. So this is where they need you.
Yeah, that's where we're going to. That's the final question I'm going to be asking you because I know as a publisher you have touched things here and there, but my forte basically is helping people to be able to market their works and put their books out there, shameless marketing. And permit me to say that the book that I'm even writing right now called Shameless Marketing, I've already started talking about it. And I'm going to be doing tours in the year 2022. And I'm wearing your book to sell now. On each of the stage that I'm going to climb on, we'll have shameless marketing. Why I'm thinking that way is because, and I'm writing the book in a way that is not the usual way that America wants to write. So for my book, your book will sell, you could go from chapter 1 to the end, chapter 20, and everything is in ordered steps. But this time around, the book I'm writing, this shameless marketing, the book will like be a jungle of sorts. There will not be any chapter. So it will kind of compel you to want to read from the beginning to the end because all over the book will be things that have to do with marketing, the psychology, the strategy, the tools, and all that. But the beautiful thing is that I've already started marketing and talking about the book leading to 2023 because that's when I want to eventually release the book. So that brings me to this question, final question. By the way, guys, if you've got questions now, please drop your questions in the comment section and BB will answer them. And if you're just joining us, please let us know where you are tuning in from. If you are in Nigeria, let's know your city. If you are not in Nigeria, please let us know your city. If you're in Canada, US, UK, India, whatever you are tuning in from, let's know. So, Bibi, that brings me to the final question that I have for you. Marketing, because it's not okay to just write and not to market. So I know that you have done quite some things in the area of marketing. At least as a publisher, you're taking the books of your authors to make sure that they're in the bookshops and all that. So if you can share with us, right? I would like you to share with us two, three, four, perhaps five strategies that you yourself you have utilized for your own book and also for your own for your own authors that you publish for, whether self-published or traditional published arm of your company, so that we can learn.
All right. First of all, uh, like believing that most of the audience are based in Nigeria, so I may just come up with ideas from that environment, from that atmosphere.
It doesn't necessarily matter because part of the things that I'm also pushing authors is to go beyond Nigeria to other parts of the world. So the
Okay.
thing is,
Okay.
like for me, I'm on currently undergoing conversation with a lady who wants to publish my book in the US, and I'm praying so earnestly that it works because her strategy is that she wants to sell the books and then invite me over to come have a training in the US. So that is part of what I'm pushing and telling people that yeah, we may be in Nigeria, that's where I am, but let's how to see how we can push forth beyond just where we are to other parts of the world. So we can draw your whether in Canada or whatever, we can see how we can, we jig to suit our own peculiar situation.
All right. So there are one of the avenues. First of all, is to get a major or a distributor to distribute your interested in your genre to distribute your book in any location that you are interested in. And now, first of all, is to write a letter or an email to the distributor with details of your book and the prospects. And that this is where marketing skill comes in. You have to pitch your book so it becomes very interesting and inviting. So the book distributor will not just have to tell you to send copies of your book and they now keep it in the warehouse and it will occupy. And after a couple of months, they will be writing you on how they can return your copies to you. So you need to like lead them to uh that belief and make them understand the market for your book, who your book is meant for, And so if they are able to accept your book, then there is this collective called African Book Collectives, ABC. Uh, we have a whole lot of uh, self-publishers and also traditional publishers under the ABC, and they distribute in Europe and North America. So even if you're a writer in Africa, they can distribute your book for you as far as you have the worldwide rights to distribute your book anywhere you wish to. You can use such platforms to get your book out there, distributed out there. And that's that about using a distributor. You cannot I cannot overemphasize on the importance of using a distributor, because actually this is where you get to see your book at the airport. This is why you get to see your book at the train station in the UK, in a little bookstore there, and you walk in and you see a Nigerian's book, or you see someone you know his book in there. There are small streets in Canada that they have free book box, where you have a box out in the street and you have books inside. People just go and drop books inside for people to just come and pick and read and return. So the distributors also can donate copies of your book to these little street corners, and then the libraries all over. So you cannot just do all the job by yourself. So this is where distributors come in. So you go to a university library, University of Toronto, and then you find your book in there. So distributors are very important to a writer or to a publisher, self-publisher, traditional publisher.
So I have to, I'm sorry to
And
cut
then
you off,
two,
cut you in, but I want to ask: these distributors, do they buy off the books from you after you have pitched to them, and then, or do they collect these books and then after they have distributed, then as people are selling, you begin to receive your money? I just wanted us to know.
most distributors that I know deal on percentage.
Okay.
All right. So they deal on percentage, and you'd have to work with the percentage that works for you, that you feel very comfortable with. And then you get a distributor that agrees to that particular percentage. So some may say 15%, 20%, 25%, depending on how vast that distributor is, or how trusted that
Okay.
distributor is. So most of the distributors that I know deal on percentage. Then most distributors for self-help books and non-fiction would have you pay them a certain amount, and then they carry your book and then distribute globally. There are some distributors, there are especially one in the UK, that they will print your book and then they will distribute. All you need
That's
to
good.
do is to pay them a certain amount that you agree with them. They print the book and they distribute. Then they will be giving you reports until they sell off the last copy of your book. And then if you want to move into a reprint, and then you can sign a new contract with them. And then there are global platforms, online platforms that you can also distribute. One is Amazon, for example. But coming to North America, now got to discover that there are also better options than Amazon, like Ingram. You can actually get to different bookstores faster through Ingram. Now, what Amazon does is you order on Amazon and they print on demand, right? So if I need a copy and I'm in New Zealand, I need a copy of your book will sell. I order your book will sell. Amazon will print that one copy of your book will sell, and they will ship to me. Good. Ingram is different. Ingram is at the center of it all. So what Ingram would do is to collect the data, the metadata of your book, and the content of the book, and every information, reviews, prices, the author's name, bio, author's biography, and everything, and then store it in the system, and then distribute electronically to bookstores spread over North America, Europe, and some parts of Africa, like South Africa, where they have such a technology. So what you do is, whenever you now visit any of the bookstores, their website, you search for your book, you will see the book virtually there. All right. So anyone can order online, for example, from McNally Robinson bookstore in Winnipeg. You search for your book. Because you distributed through Ingram, you'll find your book on their platform. Even if you walk into the store and you ask them for that book, they will search their system and they will ask you to wait for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So you get seated, they'll print a copy there. All right, because they have the technology. So they print a copy there and you walk away with the book. And it reports automatically with Ingram, and Ingram reports to you. So these are like different tech ways they are using technology to support publishing in the West. Now, I've also been talking with different publishers as regards to this. Why don't we, in Nigeria, I mean, in Africa, why don't we attach ourselves to this kind of system? We might not attach ourselves to theirs, but we can create. We can create, and that's why we have the techies in Lagos, and that's why we have young boys doing pretty well in terms of payments and payment platforms like Paystack and Flutterwave and all. We can also have there are incubators in Nigeria where people come up with ideas and build these technologies. We can have a technology that builds metadata in Africa, trusted. People get to store their data with that platform, and it distributes. All you need to do is to build a system that will connect to different bookstores in Africa. So different bookstores can also have their printers available, print on demand printer, which is just a little bit sizable, and then you get the book out there. Sometimes the bookstore might be empty, but they have stock electronically, and they can. So, like, I'm now preaching the way forward for Africa. But the major thing is get your book or out there through these distributors. So all you now need to do is marketing. When the distributors have your book, you now move into marketing, which is you can do promo videos on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, talking about your book, talking about the importance of the book, and because your book is a product, you can do that. You can also get PR companies, marketing companies that can do that for you, trusted ones internationally. So a book is a product, and if you really want to write, then you should know that it's serious business, and you should know that it's something that you're going to invest in. It takes a whole lot of finance, and it also gives a whole lot of returns. And the returns may not just be the financial gains. It builds you as a brand. It builds your network. It makes you believable. People believe writers more because writers are more like the guardians of the truth, you know. So it makes you, it takes you out there, gives you, it makes you open, like you become open to opportunities, So a book can do a whole lot of things. So if you're just looking at just the financial gain, yes, which you will end up making that gain, it's not going to be only that. So you might be restricted or limited if you don't pursue the different avenues, So just like I know how far you've gone just through book marketing strategies and writing and all these things. So books create avenues. So if you're thinking of all these things and you're burdened by how much am I going to spend, draw a map on your spending and follow them methodically. Make sure you follow them so that you don't over labor yourself financially, but make sure you get to the end. distribute through distributors, then go out there and go and market, so that when people will ask you, where can I get your book, you can easily tell them, you can get my book here. You can get my book here. If you're in Ohio, you can get my book here. If you're in Michigan, you can get my book through this source. If you're in the UK, you can get my book through, because you know that distributors are all over there. So when I tell you, where are you? You tell me you're in Regina, Saskatchewan, here in Canada. I'll tell you, walk into McNally Robinson and just, they'll give you a copy of the book. You know, so when you walk in, you tell them I need this book. They print it off there, print on demand, and they give you. So
Wow.
you are sure you have these platforms. So what you will now do is just to go and market. You'll be on every platform: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, talking about your book. Get yourself involved in festivals or book events where you get the opportunity to talk about your book. Meet people, ask them for favors, ask them for 5 minute radio, uh, 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 like they should feature you on radio if you can, you know. Do whatever you can do to get your book out there. So your role as a writer will be to market the book. So, but these other platforms will be there to support you distribute the book whenever you get an interest.
Wow, that's amazing, man. Thanks a lot. This conversation, it has been really, really um, very, very educating. At the same time, we've received lots of information. So, thank you everyone who has joined us so far. I believe that you've gotten quite some value. Individuals who are here, Zube Uche, thank you for being part of what we are doing. I don't see any questions for BB, so I think a day. Okay, so BB, thanks. If you got final words for us, please go ahead and give us some final words as we begin to wrap up on this session.
Yeah, so I don't really know what to say. The only thing is, go out there and get our books. Get Emeka Nobi's book. I'm sure you guys know he's a very wonderful writer. And then Griots Lounge, you get our books. You can follow me on Facebook. Ask me about our books. I'll let you know. Support African
Yeah,
writing should be the word. Support African
I like
writers. Internationally, anywhere you go to, the people there support their people. They support their writers. They read their people first before they read other people. Honestly, honestly, in Canada, if you're not a Canadian writer, you first of all, you will feel it. Honestly, you will feel it. So, so in the US, if you're not a US writer, you will feel it. So you first of all belong to the system before you start marketing your book. The same way it should be in Africa, the same way it should be in Nigeria. If you're not an African writer and you want to sell in Africa, you should feel it. You know, so you can have a writer from another country just selling easily more than your own writers in your country, and you say you don't know what they're writing. They're always writing about Okonkwo and motivational speaking and stuff. No, if you really read Nigerian writers, you are really missing if you're not reading Nigerian writers of any genre, non-fiction. I think we should all even be writing more of non-fiction now, because there are a lot of stories. History is just being wiped away because people are not reading non-fiction. Your family history. I read a book about the author's family history here in North America. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every bit of it, and I know I feel I feel I now belong to that family just by reading that book. So we should have people writing about us, about your parents, about your grandparents, about I don't know if we have books enough books about Sam Mbakwe in Imo State. People should be out there writing nonfiction and
it.
also
I don't think.
strategies. Yeah, I don't think so. We should have people doing this, and we should be interested in our own stories. If you don't tell your story, nobody will. They will tell it the way you won't like it. They will tell you the story the way you won't like it. And you will hear the story out there
Exactly.
and you will not be happy. So you tell your story by yourself, and you also buy your story. All right. So if you don't write your story and you don't read your story, that's where you get to discover someone that discovered River Niger. But if you
Yeah.
write your own if you write your own story, then you know how River Niger started, how it came about. So we should write our stories and we should read our stories. So try and as much as you can to read more of African writers and Nigerian writers. And I promise you they're really wonderful writers out there.
Amazing. Ifoma is now asking, how do I even begin to write a book? Man, Ifoma, I can advise you go and join the Your Book Will Sell Academy, or get the book Your Book Will Sell. A chapter is completely dedicated to how to write a book. So Bozugbe is asking, his name is right there on the screen. His name is BB Ukono, BIBI, and his surname is UKONU. So BB Ukono. Bozugbe, you can easily follow him. His name is BB Ukono, and I don't know if but I think you can see his name right there on the screen, right? Because
Yeah,
it's
I
showing.
think it's on the screen. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I think those are the two questions we've got. Thank you very much, BB. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
this session. You can
Thank
now go
you.
and sleep, as you said.
Yeah, time zone is
Oh, God.
really
Oh,
wounding us
God.
here. So thank you so much. Thank you for having me
Thank you very
in your
much
show.
for
Yeah.
having this conversation. God bless
Yeah.
you. Bye
All
from
right.
Nigeria.
All right. Thank you. Bye.